Welcome to Heartmenders Live with Carol Gordon, where Jesus has been changing hearts and lives since 1987. I'm your host, and my guest today is Velinda Baker, and we are lifting up the name of Jesus around the world today. Velinda is with Savannah Station, and if you don't know what that is, she's going to tell us. She has a wonderful ministry of helping people overcome problems by riding horses.
Yes, we do.
And that is marvelous.
It is. It is.
Now, we live in this house because of horses.
Oh, do you?
My husband bought this place because he could keep horses.
A long time ago, apparently.
Quite a while.
That's great. What kind of horses did he have?
Well, he had quarter horses.
Quarter horses. That's what we have mostly, for sure.
He was a horse lover
Uh-huh.
and a cattle lover. He liked to cowboy. He actually broke wild horses the old-fashioned way on
Really?
the Pitchfork Land and Cattle Company, Dickens, Texas, I think it is. Between college and going to the service.
That's a rough life. That is a rough life.
He had stories for a long time.
I'm sure he did. I've never trained horses, but I have gone off of them, and it's a rough life.
I've got a bunch of horse stories from him because he eventually became like a horse whisperer.
Really?
He was more doing demon casting out.
I can understand that.
Oh, but he was an amazing man. Amazing man. And so we're very interested in what you're doing with horses.
Well, Savannah Station is a therapeutic riding facility, and it's where we provide therapy for children on horseback, and we also have a few adults. And a lot of people have the idea that it's primarily recreation or for self-esteem, but it really and truly is therapy. If you take a child that is very tight, and a lot of times you'll see children who are in wheelchairs and they're very rigid, very tight, you put them on top of a horse, and at first it's almost like Humpty Dumpty up there. But in about 15 minutes, that body's completely relaxed. The legs have just drooped down the side of the saddle, and the child's completely relaxed. And this certainly helps the child's entire body function.
I'm sure.
We have another child I've had in the past who comes in a wheelchair and is very lethargic and almost asleep. And you put him on a horse and you ride around and you start trotting, and it wakes the child up. Literally wakes.
Get on by alone, or does someone ride with them?
That is something that it's a major part of the therapy. When you're doing therapeutic riding, you have 3 volunteers. You have someone who is handling the horse that's leading it, and then you have 2 sidewalkers. And the 2 sidewalkers, both of them have their inside arms up and over the rider's leg. This provides, it's almost like a seat belt. And if the child needs more support than that, then you'll have one of the sidewalkers that will put the arm up behind the back of the rider. We have one child that is in a wheelchair, and he is totally unable to support himself. So we actually have a back rider. It's a volunteer who rides directly behind him and holds him through the whole time, while we also still have the sidewalkers and the horse handler. It's a team affair. Some of your children will finally get to the point, depending on what their disability is, that they can become an independent rider. But that takes a lot of time. It also depends on the tack that you're using. It depends on the type of horse they're riding. And everything that we do, we have to match the horse to the rider, and also whatever our goal is for that day. So and then we have to match our volunteers. We have a couple of horses that are 15 hands high. And
that's the kind they always put me on.
Yes, and
I never get reaches girls.
And for your viewers who don't, that's an average height horse. That's not a short one. It's not a real tall one, but it's average height. And when we have riders up on there, we've got to have taller volunteers because your volunteers are there to help the child feel safe
Yes.
and to make sure that they're safe. So we also like to get shorter horses. Then our volunteers are pretty excited about that when I walk in with a short horse. But the therapy, one thing I want to put out here right now, Savannah Station is God's program. I mean, it is God's program. There's so much that has come our way, and it has to be by the grace of God. You know, it's where we all work hard, but every time we seem to be hitting kind of a roadblock, all at once the door just opens up, and things just fall our way. It's amazing.
That is wonderful.
It is.
It's wonderful.
It is.
Well, you want to see people who have had trauma or something get better, do better.
Yes.
And especially if they're children, but even adults.
Yes.
And it's really possible in almost many instances if you believe it. It's possible.
It is
a lot
possible.
of people just sit, they or their caregivers think it's not possible. But I know a lady who had a stroke and she couldn't talk and they wanted her to go to rehab. She drove herself home and has brought herself back.
Very good.
And can speak again, and not as fluently as before, but she can speak, and still does what she does, has done for many, many years as a living, and just by believing that she could and doing the work that it required.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know of Dr. Caroline Leaf.
No, I don't.
I heard of her some years ago, but she's a neurologist, brain specialist on the brain. She's from South Africa, lives here in the States now, and she is teaching actually on Trinity Broadcasting. And,
oh, really?
And about how to retrain your brain. And she's saying everything is possible. To change your body, to change your thought patterns, everything. And I've been just very greatly blessed by what she has taught. I've had her books for a while, and lately got to see her on television.
Oh, good.
So, good. But the Lord makes everything possible.
Yes,
she was a believer who became a scientist, but she's turned the scientists' beliefs upside down by what she's been able to prove.
That's good.
It's amazing.
That's good.
Yeah. So everything that we learn, God has designed it that way.
Yes, ma'am.
And if we will just do what He leads us to do, then we can help a lot of people.
Oh, that is for sure. That is for sure. I mean, it's in our programs, and there are several other therapy programs, and the majority of us are totally nonprofit. We do not charge the families, and so we have to depend on having fundraisers or donations, and basically we just pray a lot and just ask Him to, bless this program.
Yes,
I know
2 fundraisers each year.
Yes, ma'am. We have our biggest one is called the Roundup, and we're getting ready to have it on October 2nd. It's on October 2nd. We have it at the Oklahoma City Farmers Market. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's rustic. It's fun. It's so neat. And we have Rib Crib is going to provide the food. We have barbecue there, and then the Stockyard Playboys is our band. They're fun. They are fun. They're going to play for us, and we have country western dancing. We're going to do some line dancing, and because a lot of women just like to get up and just dance on the floor, and the line dancing allows that. But we also, where we really make our money is the live and silent auction. the last few years
Is
when
that a
we
separate event?
no, it's all that night.
Oh, the
It
same
is
day.
all that night. We have 3 levels of silent auction items, and last year we had up to 200 silent auction items. Very, very nice items. And then we have live auction, and the live auction can be from a plane flight to last year we had a private plane take a couple to Ponca City for dinner at a Mexican restaurant up there, and then flew them back home. They had a delightful time. And then we have a weekend trail ride down at Horse Heaven Ranch in Tallahena that I do all the cooking, and these people get to stay in the cabin and relax, and we saddle and everything and take them on the ride, and we have a wonderful
And that's
time.
part of the auction.
That's part of the auction.
Oh, how cool.
But the doors open at 6 and they close at 10, and the tickets are $35 each. And we try to keep the costs low so that people can go out and have an enjoyable evening. And we just count on raising the funds in the auction. And but we have a good time. We really do, and that supports us through the majority of the year, along with private donations. We couldn't do it without that. And this last summer, we had our very first charity golf tournament, and it went over real well. We had 100 people, and they had a great time. I didn't get any complaints, so we think we did okay. But that kind of helped us get through the summer. But it's the cost of this program runs around $70,000 a year, and so we have to really work hard to bring those funds in. But some places, they talk about charging the families for their riders to participate. But, anyone who knows a family with a child with disabilities knows that family, their expenses are much higher than normal.
Yeah, they're stretched already.
They really are. And this type of therapy is just unbelievable. I grew up as an educator. That's been my profession. And luckily, I was in the physical education area and worked with special needs children. And I loved horses. And I had an opportunity to really learn how to take care of horses. And so I was nearing 30 some years in education, and I finally retired and became a director of a therapy program, and eventually a large group of us started Savannah Station. And it's like lighting the candles on a birthday cake. It's you can't do anything better than having children, horses, volunteers with a heart of gold, and God blessing you the whole time. You can't beat it. You can't. Yeah. So every day is a new challenge. But tonight will be our first night for classes.
Oh,
and I'm excited. I'm excited to see those kids. The summer is too hot. We don't have an arena with air conditioning. And so the kids are ready. The parents said the kids are going nuts. They're ready to get on their horse. And so we're ready.
Arena?
Actually, inside. We have 3 different centers. Tonight our classes are at Kennard and Bethany. And then tomorrow all of our classes are in El Reno at our home base, and that is an outdoor arena. And then on Thursday we haul our horses to Piedmont, to the Reed Farm, and that's an indoor arena.
Really?
Yes. And
How
so
many horses do you have?
we have 8 horses. Mm-hmm.
How many trucks does that take?
We actually, one trailer, through our donors, we have had built a 5-horse slant trailer, reverse load.
Wow.
So we're able to haul 5 horses over. And under the accreditation corporation that we're under, which is called PATH, they have rules about how long you can use a horse, how often you can use the horse, and we stick to that very closely. A therapy horse is fairly unusual. If you can imagine, a horse is claustrophobic, and here you have a handler, you have a child wiggling, balance is off, and you have two sidewalkers. And to take all of that pressure, and you have a signal from the horse handler, and you have different signals from the rider because they have reins. It takes a tremendous horse to be able to handle that. And sometimes the kids are throwing balls, and the balls bounce back to the horse, and the horse stays perfectly still. I mean, it's
Just a special
unbelievable.
temperament for it.
Very special temperament.
How do
Very.
you determine what kind of temperament the horse has?
If someone has a horse that they want to donate to the program or lease to the program, and we don't pay, we just take total care of it. That horse, I will go out and visit that horse with a couple of our volunteers, and we'll probably ride it there. That's the first step. Then we bring it in for 30 days, and we put it through quite a training. We use parachutes and balls and everything else to make sure that that horse is just as calm as can be. And we do have some horses with a little spirit, but we're very careful about which child we use that horse for. And some of our children, we need a little more spirited horse, and it's made a lot of difference with them.
It's marvelous. Marvelous.
It's great.
I must tell you one story. We had my husband had an agricultural business as well as ministry, and he sold a product, a crop grass, and he traded some grass for a horse.
Mm-hmm.
And this was way past his cowboy days. He hadn't ridden in a long time, and so he was going to have a horse again.
Uh-huh.
I think he traded for another small horse that he was too big to ride.
Mm-hmm.
So we had those here, and but this one they called her Princess, and she thought she was.
Okay.
And she was a stinker. She wouldn't let the little horse, us get near the little horse to pet it or anything. She'd get right in between. She was just awful.
Uh-huh.
And then I found out later she threw him. He was riding and she threw him in a tipper bush.
Oh no.
That was the end.
Oh
of
no.
And he was too embarrassed to tell me, having been such a hotshot cowboy in his younger days. And but anyway, he found a guy out in El Reno that trained horses, and so he called him to come over and get this horse and train it.
Mm-hmm.
And he came over here with a one-horse trailer, and they had to back that trailer over the horse with the horse's rear end up against my brick house to get it in the trailer. And I mean, there's still a crack in the wall where the horse
Really?
against the house. And he took him over there, and a couple of weeks later, he called me. He says, "Mr. Gordon," he said, "I cannot do anything with this horse. She's just untrainable. She is just determined never to do anything you ask." And so my husband says, "Well," he said, "I'll come over there." And so I took him over there. He didn't drive anymore, and he was using a walker actually at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have been out on the horse at all.
No, he shouldn't have.
So, and I didn't know it when he did that until later.
Well, it was therapy.
Oh, sure. Well, it turned out not to work so well. But anyway, he gets out of the car and walks up to the fence with his little walker. And the horse does come over. He calls the horse over. It didn't come right up like a friendly horse, but it came up toward the fence. And he prayed over that horse and told whatever that spirit in that horse was that was driving that horse to get out. He had no authority there, no right. The horse belonged to him. He was a man of God, and the horse couldn't entertain him anymore. Now, my husband in our ministry did deliverance.
Wonderful.
So he prayed that over the horse. A couple of weeks later, the guy called him and said, "Mr. Gordon, since you were here, that horse really has come to her milk." That was his exact
My
words.
heavens.
And he said, "She'll do anything I ask her, and she's the most even-tempered thing." She said, "I've never seen such a change in a horse." So we donated her then to a boys' ranch.
Very good.
And when my husband called them, to see if they wanted a horse. Um, the man said, we were fixing fence this morning and praying for a horse.
Really?
And she was such a good kid horse.
Uh-huh.
They named her Gracie or something like
Uh-huh.
that.
Great. Great. There's the
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I can see that. I mean, there's more horses that need to be prayed over too.
Yeah.
But
Because they
it's
get
true, just
abused,
like in people.
abused just like people do.
Yes,
and
they do.
have similar reactions in their soul.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. One of the biggest part of our trainings with our new volunteers is that each one of these horses has a spirit,
Yeah.
and they have a personality,
Mhm.
and they need to be treated just as you would treat a human being. Now,
Yeah.
there are a lot of horse people who say you should not humanize a horse, but I have found that they show the same personalities and the same responses.
Mhm.
And as long as we treat them the same way, we're going to get the response that we would get from a human.
Right.
And-
At the very least, they're a creation of the Father.
Oh, yes.
And apparently
Yes.
he likes horses because they're in heaven.
You're not kidding. Yes, they are. They are definitely there. It just, they're remarkable animals. And as long as you treat them with the respect,
Mhm.
they just give you so much.
Yes.
Give you so much, and you can see God in especially these therapy horses.
Yes.
You really can. Their compassion, their patience. It's it's there's no words for it. I just I watch them, and I watch them with these kids, and they're worn out when they're through, because they take such good care of these kids, and they watch over them, they protect them, and I truly believe that that's what God honestly put them here for,
Yes.
is to take care of that rider, and you just got to believe in them
Yes.
and trust in them.
Yes. And I know people, that use therapy dogs.
Mhm.
I've never
Yes.
heard of a therapy cat.
We have 2 cats at our barn that I call therapy cats.
Really?
Yeah, because people would come out, and some of our children will be waiting for another class, and it's been some of the kids who have had who have been abused, and I'll sit there. I'll be out in the arena, and I turn around, and they're sitting there, and here's the cat, and they're just as calm and at peace with that cat, and that cat just completely relaxes in their arms.
Well, that's
And
great.
it's like they know which person needs that calm in their life. So we say we have 2 therapy cats,
That's great.
and then we have
That's
one
great.
that's not. But but these 2 are just they're just calming.
Yes.
They really are.
Yes. Well, there's reasons for animals being created, just
Yes.
like there was
Yes.
a reason for us.
That's true. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So that's very interesting. I am excited to hear what all the horses will do in response to what you teach them,
Yes.
and how they can just truly be connect with the child and be a
Mhm.
blessing to the child.
Hmm.
And I think the child probably feels that too.
They
The
do.
connection.
They do. There's been a lot of cases where children have the ability to talk, but they never talk. But when they're on the horse, they kind of forget about everything around them. And it has been documented many times. The child begins to talk to the horse. It's kind of like the McGruff puppets that you've heard about in the past, and that children who have been abused will talk to that puppet, but our children will talk to that horse.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you about this one young man. He's autistic, and it's very hard for him to focus. He's always looking everywhere. If you can get him to look at you just for a moment, you're really lucky. On Badger, I turned him around last year, and boy, I'm going to start it this year. And when he was turned backwards on Badger, he laid down. And so here's this rear of the horse, and here's this young kid's face. And I come behind Badger, and I lay on the back of Badger like this also. Now, a lot of horses don't like all of that. But these two, and that young man, he and I looked at each other for the longest time. I mean, he never broke focus at all for the long, and I just sit there going, this is amazing. And one of the volunteers, who's also a mom of a writer, came back there. And I said, I want you to notice what he's doing. And she asked him a question. And he's basically nonverbal. But if you repeat something over and over, but she asked him a yes or no question, and he just very clearly said yes. And it was like laying down on that horse, whatever that was that is in the way of him being able to focus, it was like it was gone. And he was just laying there, and I'm anxious to get right back with him tonight, put him back in that position to see how much further we can go with him and see if we can get a dialogue going.
That's wonderful.
Oh yeah, it's exciting.
Yes.
It really is. We see miracles happen all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, God has put us in a place that we honestly see miracles happen,
Yes. Yes.
and
Well,
it's
if we'll do
fun.
what he tells us to do, he'll do the miracle.
Yes. Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
just wants us to set it up. So to
Yeah,
speak.
he works us through it. Sometimes I ask him if he can work it a little easier, how out. But no, it's Savannah Station, Coffee Creek, Seabar Horsemanship, so many places. Just they provide so much for these kids. One gentleman that we have, I've known him for years, and he's been quite an athlete. And last year he did a strategic plan session for us. He was our facilitator. About a month later, he had a severe stroke.
Mm.
He is now a writer with us. Luckily, if you can call it luck, his faculties, speech, everything's fine. It was more of a physical paralysis on his right side of his body, and I am determined. I'm going, okay, God, you've gotten him here. Let's ride him and let's progress him. Get him back to a full life again.
Yes.
And he's actually going to speak at a roundup. And what's really wonderful is that his background is in exercise science, and so he's actually able to share with us while he is writing what he is feeling. Where the children really can't. But because of his background, he can tell us how this is fully impacting him. And it's just amazing. If you take a child who doesn't walk but has the potential, and you put them on a horse, the movement of the horse is the same as a human walk. And so the muscles for walking are exercised, and they're relaxed, and the child actually feels what that movement is, where if they go to regular PT, they just place their feet in front. But here they are feeling it, and they say that the length of time it takes to teach this child to walk has just been cut enormously, because that child has been riding that horse and is getting that exercise.
That is wonderful.
Isn't that, just awesome. It makes you feel good.
Yes. Yes. God thought it up, and you were obedient.
Yes. I have figured out that he has taken me on this journey. If I, to really pinpoint where I have obtained the information that I have used, it's been about a 30-year journey.
Oh, he doesn't mind that.
I know, but I do. I look back and I think
he does that with everybody.
He does.
When you think about it,
That's true.
He trains people through their life to do what they're doing. When they think they don't have any more time to do anything, that's true. When he really gets you started.
That's true. and I do ask at different times, what do you have next? What is this preparing me for?
Right.
Because each time I think, okay, this is where you want me to be. This is the final, and then all at once, here we go again.
Yeah.
And I'm going,
Opens another door.
Yes, he does.
Prepared you for.
He really has. Yeah. And I'm going, okay, We can't give up.
No, we
Got to
can't.
keep going.
No, we can't. No, we can't. We have to keep right on because he's got
Uh-huh.
big plans.
He
big
does.
plans. And this is just a training ground too, because we've got lots and lots
Yes.
of eternity left to do.
Oh,
stuff.
yes, ma'am. We do. Big time. Big
And it'll
time.
be different because the life there will be different,
Oh, yes.
but there will still be. He's not one that wants us to sit around. He'll have lots of things for us to do.
That's true.
No telling what. One
That's true.
Exciting. to
It's
think
really
about
exciting. It
Yes,
really
it
is.
is.
Very exciting. I personally, I really look forward to it. You know,
We
I
should.
do.
We-
I just,
Whoever accepted Jesus, he says you've
Uh-huh.
already died.
true,
So
true.
it's just
True.
great from here on.
Oh, I know. I know. I'm,
Praise the Lord.
it is.
Well, we're about out of time, and I just thank you so much, Velinda, for
Oh,
sharing.
thank you. Thank you
about
for
Savannah
having me.
Station and all that you're doing. If you would like to learn more about Velinda and what they're doing, her email is Velinda, Velinda, at savannahstation.org. And her phone number is 405 651 2234. Is that correct? And then
Yes.
the website is www.savannahstation.org. And so if you need know somebody that needs her or would like to volunteer or like to donate, that's how you get a hold of her. And we encourage all of that.
We do.
We certainly do. And so I just want to thank you so much for coming today and sharing your heart. And I bless you in all that you are called to do.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And blessings to you, and bye for now.
You guys are good.